Good evening. It is Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, and this is a meeting of the Plan Commission of the City of West Bend. More than 24 hours in advance of tonight's meeting, notice of the time, place, date, and subject matter of the meeting was posted in accordance to Wisconsin state statutes. We recognize a quorum of the Plan Commission tonight with Jeff Schlamer and Mike Weston excused absent, but we do have a quorum of the board. I invite you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item of business is approval of our Plan Commission regular meeting minutes from September 2nd, 2025. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thanks, Matt. Second by Paul. Any comments, questions, corrections? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to a 2020 comprehensive plan change.
Our first item tonight is to hold a public hearing on a request for a comprehensive plan map amendment number 41, a change in the recommended 2020 land use plan for approximately 64.13 acres located at the southwest corner of East Paradise Drive and South River Road, from single-family residential to multifamily residential. And this has a corresponding public hearing, which will be the second public hearing also, which will address. Do you want me to open both up?
Probably, yeah.
All right. Item B1 is also to hold a public hearing and requested action. It's a zoning amendment 25006, a zoning map amendment located at the southwest corner of East Paradise Drive and South River Road, from temporary zoning to RM3 multifamily residential, NSW non-shoreland wetland, SW shoreland wetland, FPS floodplain storage, FW floodway, FPW floodplain wetland, FWW floodway wetlands district by fiduciary real estate development.
Thank you. So I'll, again, as John talked about, we'll brief the Plan Commission on both the land use and then also the permanent zoning. So back in September of this month or this year, we introduced the land use change for the property, for the change from single family and various open space and environmentals to multifamily residential. For that, as a part of the review and process that we had, and a preliminary concept plan was attached to the packets, showing that they were looking to do a layout for approximately 391 units on the property, and also including the open space.
Jim, I think he has a technical issue, so can you pause?
There we go.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect. So the developer's actually requesting for a change in the land use plan from the single-family residential to the multifamily, to facilitate the development of the 40 or the 64 acres. Staff has reviewed the surrounding uses and feels that the multifamily could be a good fit for the area due to the restrictions that we have on the lot with high groundwater and soil conditions. And we're asking the Plan Commission to review the request and make a recommendation whether to approve to council by approving the resolution that's included in your packet. The second public hearing that we will have, if the first part passes by the commission, is the actual permanent zoning. Here we're requesting the actual permanent zoning to the multifamily residential, the RM3 district, and then also with all the various environmentals that we have out there for wetlands, floodplain, that would associate with those districts that we would ask that also to be considered. Again, this would, we reviewed this and feel that this would also be an appropriate use for the change in the land use and the zoning.
Thank you, Jim. So we've opened up both items on the agenda at the same time here, both the recommended land use and the zoning. And I understand there's a presentation from the potential developer. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, I thought we'd do that first, just
Okay.
in case that might answer some questions.
Yeah, let's do that first. So fiduciary, real estate development is here with us tonight, and why don't you take it away?
Great, thank you, Mayor.
No, that's all right.
Introducing ourselves, and especially to those that are here from the public that are joining us for this evening's public hearing. My name is Craig Raditz. I'm with Fiduciary Real Estate Development. I do lead a team that I want to introduce. To my right is Sam Elliott, our development coordinator. And also, as we go through the presentation and questions that come afterward, Paul Schmitter is here, our Director of Development, specializing really in everything, right, Paul? So I do want to just introduce ourselves. We're always the guest in your community. We haven't developed in West Bend, but ultimately sharing a little bit about who we are. We were founded in 1984. So we just celebrated our 40th year in the development business, especially in community ownership. We have approximately 400 employees. The majority of those are at our different communities. We have approximately 40 communities. 8 to 10 people operate each individual community on site, and then we have a downtown Milwaukee office complex. We're focused almost exclusively on multifamily residential. We've done a variety of things back years ago, but ultimately multifamily, and especially trying to find the right housing fit that works in the communities that we've been fortunate to be in. Major markets, we're really Wisconsin-centric across almost everything: Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, Northern Illinois the last couple of years. So that's been our development focus. Kind of another thing we didn't have in the bullet points, one of the things, and especially when we went through the recession in 09, 10, was we have our own general contractor. And when things really hit the skids there, we kept it intact, and it's one of the things that's helped us in this environment because we can control all of our own construction and quality and everything we do. As I mentioned, we have over 9,000 residences in 40 communities. I believe we're probably the largest private owner of multifamily residential in the state. Always a focus on long-term holding. We do not sell our communities by and large. It's pretty rare. We're a big believer in the communities we get into, we want to stay in, and we do the necessary capital maintenance year by year and make sure that the quality of our projects and our communities stay very good. Just on a personal note, you know, I grew up in Cedarburg in the 70s and watched a community over the next 30, 40 years just develop into a wonderful place to be. We've developed in Grafton, in Port Washington, and the same thing. My wife and I have enjoyed the last 3 years in particular. We've come up 1 or 2 times to do the bike trails here. And I've just been amazed to see what has happened here in West Bend. So I just see that transformation. Our desire to be here, to invest here, to be part of this community. There's so many exciting things going on. Credit to the whole community, and we hope to be part of it. I'm going to jump to the next page, just on the project area. Again, we're right directly south of Paradise Drive and River Road, that intersection, the quick trip there. And going to the south. You can pretty much, this doesn't give too much of a false impression. What you see is the upland, and what you see is the green is, of course, basically wetlands and areas. As Jim mentioned, there is definitely a high water table here. Perfect. That's what works great for our product. We spend a lot of time, when I mentioned the 9,000 units that we've developed over the last 40 years, in particular, a lot of those were 3, 4, and 5-story type of buildings. We have since approximately 5 years ago really focused on exactly what the markets need in many of our communities that we're interested in and invested in. Simply to look at a more of a townhome, direct entry, everyone's got a door, many people have an enclosed garage, more of a townhome type of development. Especially when we were building 3, 4, 5 stories, you would have 22 to 35-year-olds who are probably 80% of your audience. And now with this type of development, more townhome style, direct entry, we have the whole gamut. You know, we've got couples with kids all the way up to retired seniors and beyond for that matter. So I'll turn it over to Sam, who's gonna run through kind of the development plan.
Go to the next slide, please, Jim. This is the site, just zoomed in a bit more. Like Craig said, you can see that the darker green parts are generally the wetlands and, you know, mature trees, which for the most part we don't intend to impact. We intend to do our development on those upland areas. With such a big site, we have the luxury to really have a low density development at 6 units per acre and still maintain, you know, a tremendous amount of green space on site. And actually, Jim, if you just hop to the next slide, then I'll just kind of narrate through here. So what we're looking at is these are all 2-story stacked flat buildings that are townhome style, meaning every unit has their own front door, and some units, about half, would have their own attached garage, and there would be detached garage banks available generally for the units that don't have an attached garage. And the idea here is that this is not kind of what you think of. We get lumped in with multifamily in your urban, you know, downtown center type of feeling, but really what we want to emphasize is that this is more of a middle ground between that and a single family type of development. Comparable properties, we are commonly confused with being condos. We get calls from people driving by asking how they can purchase a condo, and we take that as a compliment because that is the feel that we're trying to achieve. And in that, you know, we really hit people that we feel it's kind of a missing middle market between the traditional apartment renter and someone who's looking to purchase a home. Jim, if you jump to the next slide, here's a concept sketch rendering of, you know, what we would envision this project to look like. This would be the front elevation, as you can see, with, you know, the 2-story gabling private entry front doors. It does really have that condo feel and kind of is in harmony with what you would picture a single family subdivision to feel like, again, especially with that tremendous green space on site. And, you know, I think I'm a case study for who is the primary renter for this type of product. And my wife and I live in one of our properties in Port Washington that is very similar to this 2-story townhome style. And we're expecting our first child in November, and we've been trying to buy a house, and it's challenging, right? And that's our goal and that's our dream. But until then, this type of thing is the closest we can get to that single family feeling where you have a little bit more space within your unit. You have green space, you have that attached garage. And our demographics show at these projects that people like me are a strong cohort. That 25 to 34 age range is about 30% compared to 80%, like Craig said, at, you know, your more dense properties. And the other cohort that we see a lot of is the empty nesters. So it's people exiting the housing market on the other end that are, you know, they don't want the responsibility maybe of home ownership anymore, but they want to stay in their community and still have that feeling of a, you know, ground floor unit to be able to walk right into your front door. And you can see here kind of how that plays out in reality. The next slide would be the rear elevation, which is where the garages would be. By design, this elevation is not quite as detailed and would be oriented, you know, internally towards the drive aisles. So the previous slide would be kind of what you would see from the public roadways, and this would be, you know, internal facing. And the next slide is some demographics kind of expanding on, you know, what I just referenced. So High Bluff or Creekwood Crossing, that is a two-story stack flat, like we said, townhome style product similar to this in Menominee Falls. High Bluff Townhomes, that's where I live in Port Washington, same type of product. And then Seasons at Grafton is, again, very similar in Grafton. And I think, this set of demographics shows for those three properties in real time for the people that live there, what their data is. So the average household size is less than 2 people per unit. And what I think is really kind of important to highlight here is that the median household income of our real renters far exceeds the median household income of what you see in that municipality. So that just indicates that, the renters at our properties are professionals, people that are members of the community that are going to work. And sometimes we see, you might have a doctor and a lawyer that are married to each other with a young child, and they choose to live at this type of property instead of purchasing a home because they might be career focused and this works for them kind of in the interim. So what on the right there is kind of just roughly what we would envision for West Bend based on, again, these comparable properties, what the median household income is in the city, and then how that kind of compares to, what we'd expect. And part of that is there's a 25% kind of rule of thumb national standard for what people spend on their housing. And it's a rough rule of thumb, but based on the rents that we would expect in West Bend, and our market studies have indicated, if you kind of back into what that income would be, that's where that 93,000 number comes from. And I think the next slide is just back to the site plan as a whole, which we usually end here because that's where a lot of the questions come back to.
You're saying like at the third page, or the third, John can go back to the third page, is kind of the details of the development.
Yeah.
There we go. I think we got past that one.
Or next one.
One more.
There we go.
Yeah, I guess any additional narration here, just reemphasizing that's low density, 6 units per acre with a ton of green space on site. And I want to emphasize also this is be intended to be phased, so the 391 units would not all be at once. We're envisioning 240 in the first phase, and then the remainder if and when the market dictates, and we have kind of graduated from that first phase. Again, other open space on site, we intend to be amenities for residents, including a connection to the state trail system, which the rails to trails I think is awesome. Like Craig said, he's utilized, I do as well. And then there will be a clubhouse in the corner for residents with a pool and related.
Great. So we'll just end the presentation. If there's any questions, we're available.
Thank you very much. We will open the public hearing now for both the recommended land use change and the zoning of the land. So we'll do the public hearings together. Sam, Craig, and Paul are obviously here, and so if there are questions that members of the community ask, I think what we'll do is we'll kind of record the questions and then give them an opportunity to maybe answer those questions at the end. And really the same for the Plan Commission as well. So I will invite the members of the public who would like to address the Plan Commission on the zoning and the recommended land use change for this project to come to the microphone. You will be heard. And again, if you state a question, we'll just kind of take note of that, and then we'll wait until everyone's done and answer those at the end. So the public hearing is now open.
Evening. My name is Paige Presley. I live on Paradise Drive, just east of G, River Road. Known the Muths for a long time. I consider them friends. We all know we're talking about the Muth Farm. I'll still consider them friends after this. My question is, I get inevitable, yes, I know that farm is gonna be developed. Why do we need more apartments in the city here when every apartment complex you go by has for rent signs out there? You haven't filled the district up. You haven't filled up whatever that place is called where the old West Bend Transit was. Amity Building's not full. every apartment building you go by has vacancies. Is this something we really need in West Bend? Who's coming to West Bend to fill these places? There's no jobs here to speak of. I get where these guys are coming from. Economies of scale, for lack of a better word. I just don't see the need right now for 390 apartments more in West Bend when you can't fill what you have. And I guess we don't even wanna talk about the streets in this city, do we? So, I mean, you already got the Whittemire farm going. We all know about that too. I just, nothing against the Moose, like I said, they're friends of mine. But I just don't see the need for more apartments right now when you have an overabundance vacant already. So, I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nick Thill. I'm the owner of Honey Grove Apiaries, 2500 South River Road. So my grandparents used to own, well, obviously owned the business and the house adjacent to our building, as well as the two wooded parcels that are currently there. I believe it's 2 6-acre parcels. I guess the question that I have is, back when the two properties were sold, came in front of the city council as well, and the biggest thing, they have to use a shared driveway because the city council was concerned about traffic on River Road. And currently, right now, with the business park, if anybody's traveled on River Road between especially 3 and 5 PM, it is like a raceway there. I know, and thankfully, the speed limit did get lowered, but I saw in their plan, it looks like there's 2 entrances, one off of River Road and one off of Paradise. With 391 complex units, that's a lot of vehicles. If it was one per household, which typically, if there's a couple, it's probably 2 vehicles. It's a lot more, that's a lot more in and out off through 2 different entrances. And I think the last thing that I had was, I just drew a blank. So, I know the other thing. So I think it was currently zoned as a single family residence. And as this gentleman said as well, it's really hard to find homes. Well, I feel like that land could be better used for single family homes than like Paige had mentioned, multiple unit apartment buildings that there's plenty of vacancies of the ones that are pre-existing in West Bend. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jeremy Lesage. I'm one of the owners of one of the lots he was talking about, my father. And, when we purchased the property, we knew that that would probably be developed and it would probably be single family. And so a little shocked at what we potentially would be looking at. And I do personally know, and didn't know that he was gonna be here, but I know Craig Raditz. I've been a friend of his for a long time, and I can speak for his character. So that being said, I don't feel like I have enough information to support or not support this project. And I feel like coming in here and making the investment with my father, knowing that the 6 acres was going to be looking at probably single-family homes eventually, there is a shock to what we potentially would be looking at right next to us. We're right on the other side of Cost Creek. So definitely concerned, and feel like we need more information before we would be willing to support the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
evening. My name's Chris Schrage. I live at 2490 South River Road. I'm the other 6 acres that Nick was telling about. And I too thought I knew it wasn't gonna stay a farm forever, but I always had thought that it would be houses, not 391 apartments. My biggest concern is I waited in my driveway 4 minutes at this time of the day to get out of my driveway to get on a river road. What's it gonna be like so I take the math of this way. So if let's just say it's 400 units and we got 1.5 vehicles per 400, that's 600 cars. 600 cars are gonna come out of 2 driveways? Or go in 2 driveways? I'm concerned about the traffic. I appreciate that the speed limit got lowered to 45, but trust me, there's a lot of people that don't drive 45 yet. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the Plan Commission on this tonight?
Move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
All right, there is a motion by Jed and a second by Matt to close the public hearing. All in favor, please signify by saying, Jed, do you? No. Okay. Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I guess I'll ask Craig and Paul and Sam if you'd like to address anything that you've heard tonight. Don't feel like you have to, but if you would like to, we can certainly give you that time, or John as well.
They can start and we can follow up on some.
Okay.
The traffic, this is a conceptual site plan. We do have a long way to go, and including what will end up being a rather significant traffic analysis and study that will recommend certain points of entry, exit onto, in and out of the site. One of the reasons we chose this site is its relationship to Paradise Drive. We are projecting that the vast majority of people will use Paradise and as kind of a main artery. The other thing that we always see when we have outside entities do the traffic studies is they do a deep dive into our previous projects, and we've got a lot of data on how many people actually leave the apartments, when they leave, back and forth. And you do see, let's call them the 9 to 5ers, but that is ultimately turns out to be about 35 or 40%. Ever since COVID, we've got a significant number of our people working from home and a lot more people using kind of a flex scheduling type setting. So the traffic analysis will take all of that into account, and it's very different from the days of that 7:30, 8 o'clock where everyone leaves and then at 5 everybody comes back. So the traffic analysis will go through that and kind of point that out and kind of help determine exactly what sort of traffic improvements might be needed on the roads near us and alongside of us.
Thank you, Paul. You have anything you want to add?
Sure, I'll try to address a few of the items. I think one of the questions that was a recurring question was with regard to single-family versus the residential. Typically, most of our subdivisions in the last number of years that have been developed are in the RS4 zoning district. That zoning district also has a density of 6 dwelling units an acre, so it's about the same. So in terms of number of units, whether it's 6 dwelling units that are single-family or 6 dwelling units for an apartment, it would probably be about the same. I don't want to speak to max, but I would guess if this were to be developed as a single-family subdivision, there probably would be limited access to the subdivision, so we're probably looking at a very similar road network in terms of this is going to be all private roads. If it was a single-family subdivision, they'd all be public roads, but there probably would be similar points of access. We wouldn't have a ton of streets, I wouldn't anticipate connecting onto River.
No, and we have the example of Prairie Meadows subdivision where they have one point of access.
Yep.
And so it would probably be the same result with one point of access on Paradise and one point on River Road.
Right, so we'd have that focused area of traffic from that perspective. So I think that kind of answers, that might provide some information to the public as well as the commissioners. Just one other quick item, when this property was annexed, it was actually annexed as temporary, so the land use has been residential of some sort, but the zoning is in that temporary holding pattern for a number of years. Trying to think if I took notes. In terms of, I think the first question had to do with, occupancy. We did track a little bit of occupancy. I know, for instance, some of the downtown buildings are running in about the 90 to 95%. That's usually typically, and maybe fiduciary can, since they're in the business, but that's usually a standard, considered a good number in terms of occupancy. There's always a couple units that are going to be empty at any given time. So in terms of rental communities having a sign up or trying to promote their rentals, I think that's one of those things. They're probably always looking for good tenants from that perspective. And so I don't know if you guys want to mention is at least from the conversations I've had with some of the newer rental communities, they're kind of in that 90 to 95%
Sure,
occupancy.
I think that of some of the questions, certainly I can address that, because so all of my time at fiduciary and specifically, you're probably aware of Tracy Cross and Associates out of Northern Illinois. I mean, they almost are in every community up here working with every developer, and we've had a relationship with them for almost my whole 30 years, and so they do all the market studies with us. In the apartment business, 5% vacancy, when anything sells or anything gets refinanced, that's considered there's a natural 5%. When you think about something that's 200 or 300 units of residences, it's almost impossible to get much beyond that 96 or 97. So yes, everybody's advertising all the time, and a rent sign outside of a complex is a 24/7, 365 type of thing. So, but with that, we use, going back to Tracy Cross and Associates, every project we have done, I believe since 1996, we have used Cross and Associates. And they prepare, that's our first line. Internally, with the amount of units we have, the communities we have, knowing their location, we track it every single week, our occupancy, the rent levels, and things of that nature. And so a decision to come to any community and to invest $70 to $80 million on a project does not come across lightly, obviously. And we've found that West Bend appears to have a very good growth rate, a good median income, and an appropriate vacancy, in our terminology, appropriate vacancy that we believe this will fill. And that's one of the reasons we are breaking into two, and as we talked about the last time we were here, and we appreciate the comments that we've incorporated a lot of green space, because this is a very large parcel, and we're fortunate to have that much green space such that we're only 6 units per acre. That was compared by Mr. Fellows. But with that, as we are looking at the 2 phases, that's why we are proposing a phase 1 We're gonna build the clubhouse. I didn't say much about the clubhouse. I'm looking forward to, our clubhouses are not just a 1,500 square foot office in a little workout room. They're quite special and a key to our communities. They have a complete living room with a fireplace, kitchen, a whole setup so you can host approximately 100 people. Really beautiful weight room, and of course a pool and services. So we make it so it's integrated, barbecue pits and things of that nature. So we are doing this in 2 phases though, just in order to make sure that we don't bring on more density than the market will meet in any one given year.
Craig, as long as you're up there, if you can address, I think one of the first questions was, who's coming to West Bend? Like, would you be able to tell us a little bit of what percentage do you think will be current West Bend residents or within the surrounding larger West Bend community versus those you might think of that might be moving from, Slinger or Germantown or something like that?
Sure. And again, job growth is large in the equation. It's first, what are we starting with in the community? And there have been some great developments that have already occurred here. We saw those 3, 4, 5 years ago is what has happened, and we've seen their success. And so it hasn't been lightly that we've just been watching the last year or so. As we look at that, every community, John, is different, no question about it. You go over to a Madison market where there's a lot of competition too, but there's a tremendous job growth. So it's a mixture of both. I think it's number one. I mean, the single family market is really just almost completely at a standstill in a lot of aspects, such that when you have any in-migration of people into the community, apartment and different options such as we're presenting here tonight are kind of key. So it's a mixture. I wish that's one thing where it's not like where exactly are they coming from. General projection that Cross does in any community that's as healthy as West Bend is about 30% will be from internal, and about 70% comes from external.
Okay, great, thanks. And I'll just to answer that particular question too for the commission, I'm sure you've saw some of the announcements last week. Some items have gone to city council, but some projects will be coming to you probably in the near future. But we do have 2 larger manufacturers with corporate headquarter components. So they'll have a mix of both manufacturing and corporate headquarters offices coming to West Bend in the near future. And those were both announced last week. So each of them was somewhere around 120 to 150 employees at some point for their first phase with future phases. So that might also, we also have tremendous growth in some of our existing, manufacturers and businesses in the community. So I think that also factors in from, they may be coming because the new job is here versus somewhere else. So I think I tried to answer most of those questions. Is there anything else the commission might have for staff or fiduciary?
I do have one maybe you could advance to the map, one of the maps. I don't care which one, because they're the same.
Land use or
Oh, I'm sorry, they're,
Site layout?
yeah, they're site layout.
Yeah.
I said map, sorry about that, Jim. My question is around the green space, and green space can take on a lot of different definitions, right?
Sure.
For reference, I live in Prairie Meadow subdivision, which is directly across and just down the road from where you're looking. One of the things I enjoy is as I'm driving north into town, it has a very rural look to it. There's not only the 2 properties that are quite wooded, but beyond that, large trees and other foliage around Quas Creek and kind of separating some of those areas of the farm fields that are existing. Is it the intent with this plan to keep as much of that natural, the trees and the wetlands as they are now and kind of building in and amongst them? Or is it your vision that some of that will have to be taken out as a result of what it is you're looking to do?
Yeah, at this point, I'd almost wager to say 100% of anything that is currently existing is staying. I think circling back a couple of slides here to the existing condition, if you could, is Yeah, the parcel, I mean, that's what we love about it. Again, with the high water table with this product, it's just been a perfect marriage of uses on it. But ultimately, the amount of upland, approximately 40 acres, is more than enough. We need to only have 6 units per acre. So we're gonna be able to enhance these green spaces. Our site plan, of course, is a very preliminary. As we keep moving forward, there'll be paths incorporated into here and some community meeting areas and things like that. But we always call it like a slate. This is a great slate to start with, and all these green areas will be preserved,
All right, thank you.
certainly.
Jed, go ahead.
Just a few things. I think Mr. Presley may have mentioned Amity is full. Amity is empty or has vacancies. Amity is full. I just looked. They have a sign in front, just like the gentlemen were saying. These places do keep signs out, but I just thought I'd mention, it's not a major thing, but so we're the Plan Commission. We make decisions based on land use. We're not the city council. We don't make decisions. We're constrained by land use. And this is not the site plan. That will come later. And the site plan will address the traffic coming in and out, and the traffic impact analysis will be major. I'm not especially happy when I see a statistic that this community is targeted to people earning $20,000 more a year than the median city income. I don't know how that benefits the city. On the other hand, that seems to be how most of our apartment complex or developments or commercial or multi-family developments are going, but I don't know how that benefits the community when we're pricing out a significant part of our own residents. Frankly, if I could in good conscience vote against this, I would. I do not like rezoning downward from single family to multifamily. However, the reality is the density, as John pointed out, is going to be the same as if it was RS4, which is single family. So in terms of number of people, it's going to be the same as what John is representing, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, so
how do I put this? It has a lot to do with the site plan and the road layout and all that sort of thing, but from a pure paper numbers perspective, they're essentially the same density.
Pretty
so,
close.
Yep.
Okay. So the concerns of the public about the number of people, it's going to be about the same number of people and about the same number of vehicles. Then it becomes a philosophical thing. We should have single family, and I agree with you. But the problem with this site is the high water table. If they were to put houses in, there'd be no basements. You can't sell single-family homes in Wisconsin without basements. And so it would be doomed. And because we have to make a decision based on land use, the alternative, given the high water table, is, and the wetlands, is, multifamily. But they still have to comply with the density, and we still have to have approval of the site plan. So I appreciate everything that's been said by the public tonight, and we all do, I'm sure. But there's problems with the 64 acres being wetland and high water that really make it, it's not practical to turn it into single-family housing. And should it have come into the city with temporary RS4? Probably no one gave it much thought. I don't know what the history of that was. And I understand the point that some of the people said too, that we moved there thinking it was going to be single. Unfortunately, we're not responsible for how that took place, and we have to deal with what's happening right now. So, thanks.
Thanks, Jed. Any other comments? Questions? Seeing none, I can entertain a motion. We need to take these separately.
Yes, please. 2 motions.
Well, I will make the motion. I will move to approve the 2020 comprehensive plan change for approximately 64.13 acres located at the southwest corner of East Paradise Drive and South River Road from single-family residential to multifamily residential. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Any further comments, questions, discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll move on to the zoning of the property. I can make the motion again if nobody else does.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you, John. Is that
To approve it.
motion to approve the zoning from temporary to RM3 multifamily residential, NSW non-shoreland wetland, SW shoreland wetland, FPS floodplain storage, FW floodway, FPW floodplain wetland, FWW floodway wetland district for the property located in the same southwest corner of East Paradise Drive and South River Road. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Matt. Any more comments, questions, discussion?
I think this is a good project, to be honest with you, considering the land use. I realize that your neighbors, hopefully they're good neighbors. I mean, there's enough buffer there, I hope, between your houses that they'll take that into consideration. Again, the site plan's gonna be presented yet. This isn't the final site plan, this is just the zoning. They bring this to us, we don't bring it to them. I don't know, that's always that conception that I think people think that we go out and get this. We have community development is there, they take inquiries, people bring them in, and they bring the projects to us. We have to, like Jed said, we have to take it on its merit. I think it's a good use. As far as multifamily, yeah, we have plenty of multifamily in the city, there's a good ratio. We also have a lot of single-family gonna be developed. We've got 90 on the corner of 18th and NN. We have Rusco Road's gonna be 300 units, I think, when that's done. We've got the Widmeyer Farms looking at residential, single-family residential, that's gonna be pretty good size. So,
Carrick also.
Carrick,
Yep.
yeah, the Carrick subdivision off of River and Decorah. So we've got, there is a balance. So I hope they fill them. It brings new people. I hope it brings jobs. We have a industrial park. We want to do that. We need people to come in. We need people to work. So I think this will be good housing for the city. It'll be a good benefit to the city.
Thank you, John. Kind of to echo on John's comments, I'm excited about this project mainly because I've driven by your project. It sounds like it's where Sam lives in Port Washington, and it's beautiful. And I've also heard your building process with your own general contractor and just how on par that it is throughout the whole process. So I'm excited to have you come to West Bend. I think these will be very attractive units that people will want to live in because they are so dang pretty, and appreciate what you're doing as far as the green space and keeping buffers along River Road especially. And, you know, we certainly look forward to your site plan and traffic study and all that yet to come, but excited for it just mainly because of how pretty your project is in Port Washington that I've seen several times, so. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for being here. All right, we'll move on to another zoning map amendment. John?
Thank you. Our next public hearing this evening, item B2, is a public hearing and a request for action for a zoning map amendment located at 508 North Main Street for 0.4 acres of land and adjacent right-of-ways from B1 Community Business District to B2 Central Business District by PSE Investments LLC. Jim?
Thank you. So this zoning request is to change from one commercial district to another. The property has historically been, throughout the years, ranging with multiple different uses of commercial uses, from entertainment uses to retail uses. The property has recently been sold, and the developer who owns a professional office building for an engineering firm is looking to do some renovations to the building, and then also continue using it as a commercial use for himself and possibly a future tenant. The rezoning request is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and the B2 zoning, which they're requesting, is comparable for uses within that district, similar to the B1 and the B4 uses. So staff feels that this is a good use. This zoning change also helps with the property fitting better in with the setbacks due to the physical constraints and the use of the site. So staff would recommend approval of the zoning.
Thank you. Is anyone here from PSC Investments that would like to address the Plan Commission? Don't feel like you have to, but if you would like to.
I'm Kevin Parrish. I own Parrish Survey and Engineering. Right now, we're located on Wisconsin Street. I wanted to purchase a building mainly to have our survey vehicles inside. This gives us that opportunity. Winter months are kind of tough. We have to bring the equipment in. And so this is an opportunity to kind of redevelop this building and make it look aesthetically pleasing. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
This is a public hearing on this item, so I will open up the public hearing. If anybody from the community would like to address the Plan Commission on this topic tonight, now is your opportunity. Public hearing is now open.
I move to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Matt. Second by John. All in favor of closing the public hearing, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Now I will entertain a motion on the actual action of rezoning.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Jed.
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Any comments, questions, discussion? We look forward to this. This is a building that, like Jim said, has had a lot of uses over the years, could probably use a little bit of a facelift, as you said, and would love to have you downtown, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to do with it. So congratulations, and thank you for your investment. Any other comments, questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, our next one is another zoning amendment, John.
Yes, our item B3 is a request for a hold a public hearing at the request of, for a B1 commercial district. Wait, am I doing that right? Yeah. B1 commercial business district with a planned unit development overlay district located at 840 and 860 West Paradise Drive. The amendment is to modify the existing coordinated commercial development for an existing plus or minus 46,000 square foot multi-tenant commercial building, and for the approval of a new site plan, which is on a later item in the agenda.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I'd like to just brief the commission on both the zoning amendment and the site plan, since they are related for this. So the zoning amendment is actually for consideration because we are changing the site plan for the property. So this zoning amendment is to amend the existing plan unit development overlay that we have. This is actually part of the overall development of the Home Depot site, which included Home Depot, another multi-tenant building in between, and then also where Marshall's is right now. And then as part of the approval, they also submitted a site plan for a building addition for renovations, to renovate the existing space that wasn't obtained by Marshall's, and they're looking to combine that with another building addition to complete their tenant unit space. So modifications to the site plan would include parking lot modifications on the west side of the building. They're eliminating some of the parking on that side, to accommodate the building addition, along with an additional loading dock on that side and a trash compactor or recycling compactor associated with that. They are also looking at doing facade changes for that, along with the building addition. They are mirroring and kind of staying in line with what was previously out there with the building materials and colors. So the overall, they do still share common stormwater facilities with the rest of the development. Shared parking and shared access still remains the same also with that. So staff would recommend approval of both the site plan and the zoning amendment with conditions. There are a couple of technical corrections needed on the site plan, as noted in the memo. We need to have some screening provided around the dumpster or the trash compaction enclosure. And I believe there was one other minor site condition that needed to be modified as part of the conditions of the approval.
All right. Is there anyone here from Onyx that would like to talk tonight? You don't have to if you don't want to.
I think we went through most of the comments with Jim that he addressed with the site. And if you don't need me to get up to the mic, I will get up to the mic. I think we went through most of it. The only thing that I think we missed was the screening of the compactor as part of the ordinance, which I think we both overlooked when we were looking through it, because I think it's buried at the end of the amendment. Ordinance, when I was reading through it, I never made it that far deep into it.
Yeah, and when I did the final review, that's when I noticed the compactor. That's why it was a late comment, and I do apologize too for that miss of the compactor area. But other than that, it was just, I think, also a detail for the screened refuse that we were looking for also. Yeah. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, somewhere in here, yeah.
Not the materials that goes with the compact.
Great. I know I opened the public hearing. Do we close it?
Motion to close the public hearing.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Second by Jed. The public hearing is now closed, and I will take the first item, which is B3.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The zoning amendment, item B3, we'll take up first. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Matt. Second by Scott. Any comments, questions on the zoning amendment? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then the site plan.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Jed. I will second that. Any comments, questions, discussions?
Mayor, do you want to tell the folks at home what's going in?
Well, I was just going to make sure we ask. I can certainly see it on our packet here. Is that your tenant? Yeah, congratulations. Surprised our local blogger hasn't picked that up yet.
Can you tell the folks at home what it is, though?
Yeah, we're going to be getting a Burlington. Steels Brands, wow. So nice, very nice store. And I don't live far away, and my family will love it. So congratulations. And as
walking
far as the
distance.
parking goes on that, you know, I know we're eliminating quite a few parking spaces there. I don't know that anyone parks there anyway. You see some employees parking, maybe Marshall's employees who park there. I'm sure Burlington will have some employees parking on the side, but the front parking lot is big and it's never full.
Yeah, correct. Overall, it does meet it still meets our parking requirements
Yeah.
that we have.
Good. That'll look nice on the corner there, so, very good. Any other comments, questions? Paul, you've been pretty quiet tonight. You excited about Burlington?
Excuse me, all in favor of development?
Good. Very good.
Congratulations.
All right. Did I take a motion on that one yet? I did. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you guys very, very much. We're excited about this, and it's going to be a great store and a great finish to that whole complex, so thank you. Our next is a sculpture installation, John.
Thank you very much. This is a sculpture. It's actually a relocation of a sculpture, which is currently at the foot of the pedestrian bridge near MOA along the Milwaukee River at Veterans Avenue. The proposed new location will be at the tip of 6th Street and Main Street in Old Settlers Park. Jim, do you want to make some comments about it, or?
It pretty much covers everything. It's out of floodplain, it's out of traffic viewing areas, so staff would recommend approval of the site plan.
And I'll just make a couple other notes. Your original packet did have a different location. That did get changed at a request on Monday morning by the applicant. And I guess the other point is it will be going to the Parks Commission at the end of this month for their approval.
Okay. Great. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second by John. Any comments, questions, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Certified survey map.
Our item for this evening is a request to approve a one-lot certified survey map located at 1518 Bluebell Drive by John and Deborah Bushlick.
Yeah, real quick brief on this one. So the property owners own two properties. They're looking to combine them to eliminate the internal property line. This will clean up their property lines, but also putting all their improvements on one property instead of having the main house on one property and then all the accessory uses and accessory structures on a separate property. So this actually brings it into full compliance with our zoning code. So staff would recommend approval of the CSM. A couple of minor corrections need to be done for a closure on the bearings and distances, and then some typographical errors.
Motion to approve.
I'll
Second.
second. Paul will second. Thank you, Matt and Paul. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Street vacation.
This evening, we have a discussion and a recommendation from the Planning Commission to proceed with vacating Campus Drive by the City of West Bend.
Do you all know where Campus Drive is? It's a city-owned street that we would like the future owner of the property to maintain and plow snow and things like that. It's not a city street that we are interested in keeping a city street. The previous tenant, to my knowledge, took care of the street over the years as far as plowing snow and things like that. I believe so.
It's my understanding, yes. It's essentially constructed as a driveway
Right.
that has the designation of a city street, which was maintained privately by the university at the time.
Yeah, correct. I will motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I guess this is just a recommendation, but we'll do it as a motion. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item D on our agenda tonight is for 2020 comprehensive plan. Amendment number 42, consideration of approval to schedule a public hearing at the earliest convenience for a change in the recommended 2020 land use plan from single-family residential to two-family residential for approximately 0.69 acres of land located plus or minus 570 feet north of High Mount Road and on the west side of Stratford Road.
And I believe the next one is a zoning amendment on the same property.
Correct.
And again, we're just scheduling public hearings here, but
Making
Jim,
rec-
do you want to give us a
Correct.
brief on those?
Yeah, so we're asking the plan commission to make a recommendation, and then also to instruct staff whether to move forward or not for both the land use change and the zoning. So over the past few months, plan commission has seen this area a few times. A developer is looking to redevelop the property. We originally had part of it as, it was industrial, it started out as industrial and single family that converted over to two-family. The developer has been working on his final design plans and trying to get bids and quotes for putting in the public improvements. And the costs of the various improvements are arising, so they're asking for consideration to change the remaining portion that was single-family to the two-family. Again, we would incorporate a plan unit development overlay on that, so we'll have another site plan approval for this whole area for these, for this property, a certified survey map combining the properties all into one, so we can do a two-family plan unit development overlay for this whole area. So again, it's a recommendation, or, you know, and to have plan commission review this to see if the request is feasible and if they feel it's appropriate to move forward. The staff has reviewed it, and it could be an acceptable change for transitioning from the existing single family that's to the west and north. And then also the transition to the industrial that's on the far south end. And then the park is off to the east. So we're asking plan commission again to take a look at this and make a recommendation for us either to move forward with a public hearing so we could hear any comments or concerns from the neighborhood. And then also to consider the zoning from the single-family RS4 to the RD2 two-family.
Okay.
I move to recommend that city staff proceed with scheduling public hearings on both accounts.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was by Matt and Scott. Questions? Paul?
So John, process-wise, if we proceed with rezoning this, then the site plan we approved at the last meeting is basically cast aside and that process starts over for this parcel, correct?
Correct. So you'll actually see, you'll see a whole new site plan. They, after the last approvals, they recalculated some things. We had a meeting with their engineer and them. I think we might have even had 2 meetings. Essentially, there's sewer in the road, but there's no water. The water department's requiring them to loop it all the way around the entire block. So they only have 400 feet, but they have to bring it about 250 feet and then another 380 feet around. So that's a very costly project for them. In addition, there's stormwater crisscrossing through the property that has to be rebuilt and connected from that perspective. So what looks like some lots in the city that just never have been developed, there's a bunch of infrastructure for them. So it's sort of like the site's ready to go, but it really has a lot of other things. By having the 2 extra units, their numbers, their finances work out. We also talked to them about, they had some homes that were kind of set, if you remember the site plan, some were close to the street, some were back, but for instance, their laterals were more costly, so they're gonna bring the street, the homes will all be kind of where you would expect a standard house in the Barton area to be kind of closer to the street. They'll find some savings with those laterals. We also talked to them a little bit about the private alley. They found some efficiencies from that perspective with that and some communication with Max. They were actually able to tweak some things so that actually that stormwater pipe, they've minimized or lessened the length of the pipe, so they found some efficiencies there. So I think we've kind of gone through all the components with them. So if all of this kind of moves through and they get a new site plan, they should be in good shape for construction in the spring, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Jed?
I'm going to vote for this to give the public hearing. I wouldn't stand in the way of that, but if I was voting for this one way or the other tonight, I'd vote no. I'm very uncomfortable with dropping in RD2 zoning right in the middle of RS4 existing housing. We never do, I can't think of any time that we've done this. To me, this is spot zoning, and I'm sorry if they've got inefficiencies. I don't know what the backstory is. I guess it's next-gen housing, and I don't know if that's limiting their bottom line maybe, but it's not our problem.
So Jed, if I can interrupt, I believe the maps actually on them, and Jim, can you correct, those maps are actually inaccurate.
Yeah, the two yellow, the yellow and the gray, our mapping hasn't been updated yet because they're so new. So if you look at the land use where my cursor is,
Yes.
these two are actually already duplex. So we have duplex running here and up and around.
And that is a duplex. What the heck? That is a duplex right there. It's already built.
I just wanted to let you know it wasn't.
Yeah, it was an error on our side with the map.
GIS hasn't updated.
Well, thanks for telling me now after I said what I said.
Well, that's all right. That's
They're valid points.
Okay.
It's a valid point. It's just
very
the maps,
valid point.
the map's inaccurate.
Okay. As they used to say on Laugh It, never, or was SNL, never mind.
We did just change that 2 months ago or something, and so
And honestly,
that's a very valid point, Jeff.
And honestly, the land use for the zoning and the land use just south of this went to council literally like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I have to apologize for that.
Blame council, of course.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Matt made a motion to include, or to recommend a public hearing on both the comprehensive plan and zoning amendment. So I'll take that together. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our last is report on the downtown master plan.
This is a repeat for some of you from last night, but essentially, this is a quarterly update on the downtown master plan of just sort of things happening. Essentially, I'm sure you're aware, we had, I think, a really good growing season for the trees and the plants and the perennials and all of that. We've transitioned to fall mums. You'll see probably in less than about 4 weeks and a day, transitioning to the holiday season downtown. We got a lot of positive feedback about the plantings downtown this year. And we're looking at getting a few more hanging items through the hanging baskets. There's been a brief discussion that next fall maybe we'll introduce some other things other than mums, like some kale or cabbage with the mums to add some extra texture, things like that. So some discussions about that. You probably saw through social media and some other announcements from the city. There was a couple sculptures installed last month. One of them is in the downtown area near the Village Green. And if you haven't checked out the new sculptures, they're pretty cool. And then obviously, I think one of the big things in this quarter was the announcement of the Midwest Museum of Firefighting. That's going to be where the existing fire station is. So in a few years, that would be a great anchor for that part of downtown from both the visitors and tourists, but also just a whole different image for that intersection in the long run. So those are just a few little highlights from this last quarter.
Thanks, John. Any questions about downtown? All right, we're at the end of our agenda. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. We've accomplished quite a bit of business tonight in about an hour and 15 minutes, so not too bad. Have a good rest of the week, and we are adjourned.